I see the side eyes already. Hey people. Why I can't see the chat? Oh, cause no one's saying anything. Hi y'all. So as you can see from this title, we're talking about femininity today. And really I'm taking it from the angle of feminine energy. What the fuck? Okay. Yeah, feminine energy. Because I see that people are getting tripped up over semantics, I guess, and like there's a negative association with feminine energy in a certain space or masculine energy in a certain space. And it's really unfortunate to see how people are discussing each other. When I say people, I mean black men and black women. As far as desirability, what they find attractive, is like, this is how you view us? Don't like that. Hello guys, hi. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys read the description, but I called in to, what's his name? Mediocre Tutorials and Reviews. Do you guys know that guy? Have you seen his videos before? He's like, he puts a lot of content around, hey girl. Oh, I love him. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I like his vibe, you know? His content is around, the modern woman, well, what I've seen. And femininity, masculinity. He really puts content towards men, but he invites dialogue around women. And this past Sunday, he went live to talk about who will save the modern woman from themselves. And I was like, I just happened to be scrolling on YouTube, couldn't sleep. And I saw he was live and that was the topic. And I was like, let me see what is being said in this group of people here. Okay. And first of all, the chat was like really just wild, reckless, filthy, rude. I was like, what is going on in here? Like, like a lot of aggression and anger, and what I saw was a lot of resentment towards black women because they're perceiving us as being excessively masculine. And I just found the whole conversation interesting because it's like, are we considering the circumstances that created this system? Are we considering why black women have had to adapt into masculinity? And also what I'm seeing is like there's a resistance when people say, women are more, the modern woman even is more masculine, I see women have a resistance to hearing that term. And really, I just want people to recognize and understand that both men and women carry masculine and feminine energy. Like how it manifests will look different, but you still have that energy within you, and part of life and part of discovering yourself and understanding other people is finding that balance between those sides of yourself. So for a woman, like, you are predominantly feminine in nature, but you do have a masculine, seasoning. You do have that in there. You have access to that energy. Otherwise, how would you survive? How would you adapt to anything in life? And then for men, you exist in the masculine space, which, by the way, isn't gender specific. It's not about sexuality. It's about energy. And yes, biology is a part of that as well. But I want to keep it in the spiritual realm because that is where the feminine energy thrives. Okay? But yeah, for the men, the masculine, the alpha men, and all that kind of chat, y'all also have to tap into feminine energy as well in your communications. Like, you love your mom, right? Let's say ideally you do, because, I know there's men out there who have resentment there. But like, you are tapping into feminine energy by having love for a person, for having compassion for someone else, camaraderie. These are all qualities that tap into your feminine energy. I see people call it like soft skills. Like, if anyone who does sales or has had experience in sales, you know that part of you closing, like the close is the masculine. Closing the sale is the masculine energy, the action, the strategy, the follow through. But the conversation where you're warming that customer up, that's the feminine. And you have to know how to navigate both. The best bosses ever are able to tap into their feminine because now they show that they understand you, they have empathy for you, and they're willing to work with you. These are feminine qualities. What else? Being receptive, being open. The feminine archetype, or energy rather, receives. It takes in information you download. Even if you just look at your physical design, like for intimacy to occur, for physical intimacy, you are receiving. So that's just what it is. And the masculine is the action, is the driving force. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the feminine energy is being intuitive, being in touch with your womb space, your gut, your intuition, being able to see into the future, having insight on situation, perspective. You're able to help the masculine in processing the information that it's gathering, you know? Like, the masculine would be considered the knowledge, the feminine would be the wisdom. Both crucial, necessary in life. And we have access to that. Sorry y'all, I'm a little high right now. Let me see what's going on in the chat. Hold on. Never heard of him. Okay, cool. I can't watch all of his videos because it's gender bias. I ain't watched that one because I knew it was going to get under my skin. Yeah, so I called in towards the end. It was a long conversation, and I tuned in like when it was like halfway through. And there was some other women who were calling in before me. And what made me want to even speak on this was I felt a way seeing what mentality is used to represent feminine women or just women in general. Because really what I'm seeing is like they're looking at a certain kind of mentality and using that to describe women in general. And it doesn't sit well with me because we are all multifaceted beings. We all have had our share of experiences that contribute to why you have to lean more into one side or the other. In order for you to be a woman, and if you're single, like a lot of us, to be successful, to survive even, to have any kind of quality of life, you have to be leaning into your masculine energy. The masculine energy of being strategic, having a plan, executing that plan. The action, the motivation, the fire, the energy behind it, even though you are a woman. But that doesn't negate your womanhood. That's just the reality of the world that we live in. Something that he was talking about was code switching, which one thing I can say, although I don't necessarily agree with everything, I do agree with some things that he says. And for the other things, it's like I can understand why you would feel this way, especially considering the microcosm of women that are being used as the sample size to dissect. It's like, okay, I get why you would feel that way. But yeah, with code switching, he was saying, you know, when you're going for an interview or for a job or at work, you know how to code switch. You know how to use certain words to show that you are collaborative and all those things. But for some reason, when you get home, you don't know how to code switch, which that's valid. That's valid. But one thing I can say is being a single woman, being a modern woman, as they call us, and having to exist in this world, you end up being out of balance between your feminine and masculine because you have to operate in the world. You have to make moves. You have to make things happen. So you have to lean more into your masculine qualities, right? So it throws people off balance, and it's exhausting. So what I would encourage really is like compassion, a little understanding, but these are feminine qualities, which is why I say it's important that we recognize that we both have these qualities within us, and the power, the strength is being able to call it forward when the situation calls for it. Feminine energy is emotional intelligence. You can read the room and determine what is needed to shift the frequency. That is a power. That is a superpower. And ladies, I just want to let you know, like, even though you do have to show up in the world more in your masculine, let's say, depending on, you know, your career or whatever, your feminine is a super fucking power. It is a strength. It is everything that we describe as queenly, all the Claire Huxtable vibes that we be looking at and we're like, yes, her, you know? Jhené Aiko, which people say I remind her of, and I'm like, yes, I love her. Like, just knowing that you are ethereal and not using it as a weakness, not viewing it as a weakness. People associate femininity with weakness, and that just goes with the whole conditioning behind it. How people were brought up to perceive emotions as feminine, and emotions and femininity are weakness. So that's why we need this patriarchy to lead them, which when I was listening to the conversation, they're talking about, you know, the modern woman doesn't want to be led. And in order to be truly feminine and attractive to the alpha man, you have to want to be led by them. And I found that interesting because really what I'm hearing is women are receiving that to mean that we're incompetent in leading ourselves. And this whole wave of women's rights and all these kind of things, which I'm not a feminist, so I just want to make that clear, because feminism is another extreme. Like, it's like they be wildin' sometimes. It's like, ma'am, first of all, no, and second of all, calm down, you know? But yeah, okay, hold on, because I saw some things in here. Exactly, people gotta realize we need both for balance. Let's take a moment for the nails though, because okay, yes, you know, I felt so aligned when I chose this color, and then I just scrolled through YouTube and I'm seeing a lot of content around the modern woman. I think really it's because I've been looking at reaction videos, because I'm like trying to see what else I can tap into, what's my range. And I know I have great reactions. You know what I'm saying? My facial expressions be... So I've been coming across more reactions, and I've been seeing a lot of reactions to the modern woman. And the women that I'm seeing in their examples all the time is like the woman who stay in a lace front. Like, you never see their natural hair. Which, it's so funny to me because it's like the woman who say, oh yeah, I'm natural, but you never see their hair because they go from one weave or wig situation to another. And then they hide behind this whole thing and be like, oh, it's a protective style, I gotta protect my hair. But it's like, protected from what if it's never exposed? You know? So those be the woman that they going up to with the lashes and everything. And I'm not saying there's a problem with wanting to present yourself and dress and look that way. That's your business. I'm just saying there's usually a certain mentality that's attached to that aesthetic. That's like going up to a girl that models after the Khloe Kardashian, Kim Kardashian look and then expecting her to not want you to pay for everything in her life. It's like, these are These are the women that you are the male gaze is upon. So of course you're going to experience that kind of mentality over there. But if you really look around, just like you tell us to do, you would see what it looks like when a modern woman is in her feminine. Yeah. Let me see what else y'all in here saying. Hold up a second, wait. How do you feel about this Kevin guy? I don't know his last name, but he's like the Jesus of black men today. Well, you know, we have been asking for them to have a savior in some sense, as far as like black women. One thing I can applaud us on is we have been doing the work, the emotional work, the spiritual work to ascend past a lot of this toxic, stagnant, divisive behavior. A lot of us have, but I'm not going to say all of us have been doing that though. Because another thing that I've been seeing is the whole, like with NTR, he was talking about the men is trash energy that you receive a lot of the times from modern women. And it's like, yeah, if you're going around the place and you're perpetuating that narrative for all men based off of your select experiences with one or two trash men, yeah, that's problematic. And I understand why they would feel away. Imagine if the tables were turned, you will feel away too. And if we're going to be talking about bringing people together, and black men and black women, power couples, how are we going to accomplish that if we shitting on each other all the time? But back to the Kevin Samuels guy. I haven't like actually sat down and watched a full video of his. I've only like seen a couple clips. I saw a clip with the lady who was talking about wanting her ideal partner to make 6 figures, something like that, and how he responded to that. And then I saw the one about, he was calling the guy like fat and broke. Basically, he's like, okay, so do you have a big dick? Oh, so you don't. Okay, and you are talking about choosing signals? You know? So I saw that one. And based off the conversation I've been seeing and how he spoke in those little clips, I was like, you know what? I can see why this would be triggering as fuck for people. But there's a place, like, there's a necessity for that kind of rawness as well, that kind of direct speech. Because truth be told, a lot of people are living in a delusion, whether it be a man or a woman. There's a lot of delusion going on as far as what you think you are entitled to based off of no merit of your own. It's like, and this is why, you see, I've been talking about shadow work and intuition. This is why these things are important, because you have to address and be real with yourself about what it is you seek out of life, what you expect out of life, and if you're being reasonable with the people around you. And also recognizing that you're not entitled to anyone's time, energy, resources. It's not yours, like, it's theirs. They've acquired it, so you are not entitled. Yeah. So it's interesting. Okay, hold up. Back to the chat. I have such a hard time code switching. I was raised to be more in my masculine energy, but it doesn't make me truly happy. That has been a theme that has been mentioned in this conversation, is how the modern woman is the most unhappy, really, like depressed, unsatisfied, no matter how much you acquire. And really, I would just say it's true. I'm not gonna lie. It is true. But I would also say that's the case for anyone who acquires wealth and they're seeking that as their fulfillment. So long as you're putting your value and sense of self in how much you can acquire, you will always have a deficit, because it's not about what's outside of you. It's about your connection to self. And as a woman, operating in this world and capitalism and having to thrive in that. And in order to thrive in that, you do have to lean into your masculine energy heavy to navigate that. Even though I've seen very feminine women thrive in business while maintaining their femininity. Like, what's her name? Nerissa Nefertiti? Or the green, what's her name? Queen of Green? Y'all know who I'm talking about. She's a vegan. But they're both highly successful women and they're very feminine, you know? So, but I understand why it would be hard to code switch. And I think what I was getting at before is like, the higher you go in your success, the more women feel that they have to lean solely into their masculine. You see, I got Panther. They were talking about, oh, the modern woman is a cat lady. I was like, oh. I guess so. Which is like fucking ridiculous. Like, people have such disrespect for cats. I feel like it ties into the disrespect for the feminine energy, like around the world. I feel that in this day and age, the narrative is starting to change though. But generally, historically, how violated women have been around the world. I feel that it connects to this whole cat lady narrative and disconnecting us as melanated people from our ancestors and their practices and their concepts of life. Because if you really study ancient Egypt, Kemet, and why do you think they were mummifying their cats? Like, what do you think that was about? Cats were highly revered as spiritual creatures that could, like, ward off negative energy into your space and even detect it, make you aware of it. Why do they have cat statues all up and through the place? Why were they all up in the pyramids? Like, have some respect. Put some respect on it. And remember who the fuck you are. Like, the fuck? That was a tangent. Because I was like, do you even know what you're saying right now? You just talking shit. And you see, and right now I'm reacting to the chat because the conversation itself, I can see where he was coming from. But in the chats and like the rest of the men that were in there talking, I was like, ew. A whole lot of, y'all don't know your place. Woman belongs in the kitchen. You know, the stereotypical dialect. Like when a woman would call in, she masculine. And I was just sitting there like, yo, what is this? Not gonna lie though, some of those women were prime examples of what it looks like to be highly leaned into your masculine and unaware of that, which that's where the shadow work would come in. Because if you are doing your work and you're being aware and evolving as a person, you would see that. And you'll be able to actually heal what you need to heal or start the healing journey. Or accept what you need to accept about yourself and keep it real. Like, yeah, I have had to lean into my masculine energy heavily because XYZ happened in my life. And I didn't have a choice in those moments, and I'm accustomed to it now. Like, when you can articulate that, feminine energy, femininity is vulnerability as well, which is a power. I was talking about that in the last live. People respond to vulnerability. There was a time where I didn't even sip the tea. There was a time where I used to be in a group conversation with people and I would have to fight for the stage. Like, I don't know if I would say I was soft-spoken or not sure of myself enough to speak with my whole chest. Whatever the case. I would say it would be a combination of those things, actually. But conversations would be happening and I'd be like, yeah, because, no one's hearing me. Right? When I started leaning into my feminine energy, really tapping in, really learning it, developing a relationship with my feminine energy, I don't have to raise my voice. Like, the frequency of my voice penetrates. People listen. People stop and they listen. There's no desperation behind it because I just know. I'm clear. I'm at ease. I'm in flow. I'm at peace. I've come to acceptance with who I am. And so my feminine energy radiates. So when I speak, people listen. So that's just to let the ladies know who are saying, you know, you're highly in your masculine and you don't really know how to code switch. Or really, I don't want to call it code switching, but really it's about adapting, adjusting, flowing, ebbing and flowing, knowing how to move through life and be flexible, feminine energy. Be like the ocean, feminine energy, the moon. Look into these things. Find it within yourself. Also, I'm going to have to like link my video that I did about manifestation, because all of that I was talking was feminine energy. Baby. Ooh, let me tell you. I got you on this channel, okay? Ladies and gents. Okay, back to the chat. So many things have been said. Sorry, y'all. I just been, you know, flowing with it. I'll catch as many as I can. If you want to help your case, definitely hit a super chat. Help me see what you were saying. This Kevin guy is chaos energy. He is dividing instead of bringing us together. See, I can't speak on that yet because I haven't watched his shit for real. But I feel like from what I'm seeing, he's pushing the conversation in a direction that it needs to go in. Honestly, people need to start being real with themselves. Honestly. Men and women. Because we don't have time for the finger pointing energy. It's more about reflection and truth and seeking that for yourself. You don't want to, you see, what I noticed with the whole Kevin Samuels thing and him speaking to people is those are the people who are so deeply in denial about who they are and what their shadow self is that they need it to be sent to them with that kind of abrasiveness in order for it to like jolt them awake a little bit. It's like, holy shit. First of all, that was embarrassing. And secondly, is he right? Like, these are the kinds of thought processes people are running from. So I can't, like, say I have a problem with it. But then again, like I said, I haven't watched the full thing. Maybe I'll come back after watching something, let y'all know. I think it's extreme on both sides, men and women. I think a lot has to do with social media. It's real to be fake now. Ugh. Woo! Word to Finland combo. Yeah. The women that call in sometimes are crazy though. Yo, that is really, child. I called into the conversation with my rollers and my nightgown on. Like, literally, clearly, I had no intention on being on camera that night. I was literally in bed and I jumped up. I was like, I cannot let this be the mentality that's speaking for all women. I can't. And even though in our conversation with me and Mediocre, I hate having to call him that. It's like, what is your name, bro? But yeah, like, he was asking the right questions. And although I was able to answer them, there was a moment where I kind of like, I guess, contradicted myself and I had to explain what I meant. I'm gonna link the video on the bottom. But yeah, regardless, I felt at ease having that conversation with him. Like, one thing that was prevalent was the need for trust in a dynamic between men and women, both directions. When there's trust among us, that's when we're able to really exist in our energy for real. When you're distrustful, you're out of balance. When you feel unsafe around other energies, you're not in balance. And so you have to overcompensate sometimes, or you don't even realize that you're doing it. So I respect the conversation. I just want to make sure it's known that if you interview a certain type of woman, you're going to get a certain type of answer. But don't let that be your narrative of all women. You know? Okay, back to the chat. Women are the only portal to the physical and spiritual. You better, spiritual realm. You better speak the things. Love, Xavier. That is a fact. And you know, let me get comfortable. Part of your Your power as a woman and being in your femininity is knowing that you are literally housing a portal. Okay? That's why you don't ever gotta do too much. You don't have to like beg for attention. Although, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it feels good to get like additional attention when you're feeling cute, feeling pretty, feeling sexy. It feels nice for the ego. We all have egos. But you never had to do too much when you're tapped into your feminine energy and when you're clear about who you are and what you do. We carry life. We carry new souls into the world. And ourselves. Honor ourselves. Take care of ourselves. Heal ourselves. Nurture ourselves. Do the things that are associated with femininity. Do that to yourself. You know? You are the healer. The feminine energy is the healing energy. So heal yourself so that you can see yourself for real, who you really are. And you don't have to be in a situation where people are telling you that, look, baby girl, you are just too masculine. It's like, yeah, it's like, am I? Oh, yeah. I got distracted by a sound in the background. Lost my whole train of thought. Okay, back to the chat. I can see that makes sense. Yeah, you know, and another thing when I think I've already said receptive energy, like being willing to adjust. Like one thing about masculine energy is more rigid. You know, it's like If you want to think of like shapes, squares, triangles, rectangles, that's like masculine. Circles and shit, ovals, shit like that, that's feminine. The curve, the flexibility, the movement versus the hard lines, the hard, sharp lines. So the feminine energy is able to adapt more easily and shift form shift. These are superpowers, baby. Side note, there are shapeshifters among us. Just wanted to throw that in there. Okay, to the chat. I deserve to have a cat after this. Baby, if you want a cat, get you one because they are divine energy. If someone wants to be mad, let them be mad. Yes, whenever I'm a part of a big group conversation, I get this feeling like I'm not being heard, so I tend to just listen and not speak. Yeah, and it's like a whole suppressing of yourself that happens. And along with the whole mentality and thought process around feminine energy being weak energy, you know, we tend to internalize that as well. And the whole idea of being submissive, you're like, oh, to be more feminine, they say I need to be more submissive. And so you end up pressing down certain sides of yourself, suppressing it, not really showing up as your full, beautiful, vibrant personality because you're hiding behind these constructs, trying to be presented, you know, as favorable. But I say when you lean into your feminine energy, one little hack that I learned about with feminine energy and being more that is, let's say you're in a conversation, when you lean back, because now you're in the receptive mode, and that makes them want to lean into you and share more. So you lean back and you receive. You're in your feminine. And when you think of a queen on her throne, baby, is she out here just like, you and you and you and you do this? No, she's back here with it, chilling. If you play chess, the queen is the most powerful piece on the board, right? And she also hangs back until the time comes for an assassin. Now she all up in your face, you weren't even ready. So yeah, quick little hack right there. Active listening is another hack because literally another form of receiving. Observing situations, that's receiving, that's feminine energy. Creativity, one thing that I did to tap into my feminine energy was I started being more artistic, because that is feminine qualities as well. Even if you just think of your brain, the right side of your brain, the creative, artistic, imaginative expression side, versus the left side, which is the masculine, planning, strategy, action, all of that. And then you need both of them. And the most intelligent people have synapses between both sides of their brain, allowing them to just think about multiple sides of a situation at a time. Yeah, one thing that I did was I got adult coloring books. Like, anything sensory really is a feminine thing that you can practice and build within yourself. So I got some like different colored markers, and then I got these adult coloring books, and I'll just sit, maybe play some music, just relax and color. Sometimes I'll go outside and like lay in the grass and color. So now I'm being balanced and not being balanced, being grounded and being ethereal, which is the balance. I see a super chat, and let me see that super. Hey DJ Phoenix, for always speaking facts. Thank you, baby girl. You always show me love, and it's just beautiful. We love to see it. But yeah, get you a coloring book. For the women in here who are saying they're more into their masculine and they don't really know how to code switch, as they say, or lean in to your feminine, coloring is a great activity to stimulate that energy. Nurturing something. So that's why I got my cat. My initial cat, Onyx, was so that I can nurture something without having to find a person to give that energy to. The one thing that's interesting about the whole modern woman ain't feminine, they too masculine, conversation is how they talk about their body. They spend their whole lives, their prime, running through mad niggas, getting their body count all high, and it's like, okay, so a woman who's owning her sexuality, she's considered tarnished because her body count is assumed to be high. Okay, but then a woman who is deciding to direct her compassion and like, what's the word, nurturing energy into having a pet instead, now she a cat lady. So it's like, baby, what is it that you want for real? Do you even know? Are you even clear on what you're saying right now? So yes, ladies, get you something to nurture. If you're not trying to get a pet or anything like that, get you some plants and learn how to give life to these things. Start being creative. Start reflecting on some projects that you wanted to try. Any hobbies that you might have. Like, one hobby that I've been having in the back of my mind that I want to do is learn how to roller skate. Like, with the, the skates and when people be dancing or whatever. I want to learn how to do that. So if you have any of these little passion projects that you want to pursue them, because it's activating your feminine. It's nurturing yourself. Take a bath. Like I said, I'm going to link my other video where I really get into the ting-tings. Sammy, as we does say in the islands, what going on? It means hello. I know what it means. Jimmy, what's goody? Jimmy is a vibe. I bought canvases and water paint. It's so soothing. Yes, love that for you. Wagwan Empress vibes. Yeah, I respond to Empress for sure. Yes, I'm about to buy some skates. Yes, skating. Submissive doesn't mean silent. That's a fact. Okay, so back to the whole, being caught up in semantics and being thrown off of the message. Like, the thing about submission is it goes both ways. And really, when you're submitting, you're just, in that moment, in that instance, you are relinquishing power or control, really, to who you consider an authority on that matter. So that doesn't mean an authority over you. It means an authority on that matter. So one thing that I was mentioning in that call-in session was like, you both submit at some point or another. We're both leading when it calls for it. Like, I don't believe in the concept that the man should just lead everything that happens in our relationship. I feel like that's unreasonable, and that's a lot of pressure that you're taking on. And for what? This idea of masculinity? Balance. Balance. If I have a strong area, let me take the lead on that one. Like, we're a team, right? We shouldn't have to be having a power struggle over who should be leading if one of us is more qualified in that arena. If you are super qualified when it comes to fixing things, which is a masculine thing, it is a trait of masculinity, baby, I'm gonna let you lead on that. Take the lead on that. If I'm great at, I don't know, home decor, or obviously I'm great with kids. I'm speaking about myself, ladies. Kids, because I'm a teacher, all that kind of thing. I'm a birth worker as well now. So that is my strength. But you're not about to come and tell me how to move in that sector. Like, let me take the lead on that. So submission is really, it's a power play. That's why such a thing as like sex work exists, dominatrixes exist. There's a reason why men who are in highly powerful positions in their sex life, behind closed doors, they want a freak to tell them what to do. There's a reason why. And that doesn't make him less of a man, because in this space, he's letting her take the lead. Oh, so you're telling me that when you're intimate with a woman, you never want her to be on top? That's a dominant position. That's a masculine energy. You're taking over the situation. You're taking the lead. You gonna say no when that happens? Is that what you're telling me? I know it's not what you're telling me. There's a reason why sex work is so like prevalent, and it has been like one of the most consistent industries in all of history. Which, just circling back for the ladies who are out there who feel we don't need men and men are trash or whatever, literally everything that we do, when we do it well, it's because we have masculine energy participating in that, including sex work. Duh, that's the work. You are monetizing your feminine energy against men. So you can't act like you don't need them. You do. Yeah, like, this is even making me think. I saw some videos. You guys know Abba and Preach, right? Friggin', they were doing a reaction video. Wait, hold up, I just saw. Saying my favorite color really suits you on your... Oh, cool. Yes, red. Wait, hold up. Right, men love women who are the complete opposite of them because the women pick up where they lack. Power play is everything. It has to balance. Yeah, and that's something I was saying too, is like, one person in all situations can't always account for the deficits in the other person. Situations have to be taken on a case-by-case basis. And even when it comes to planning and enacting a strategy, in a partnership, in a relationship, or whatever you choose to call it, we still would have to collaborate. It's not like you can just go off blindly making decisions that affect both of us and we're not going to discuss that. You know? So it's like, it's just... But yeah, what I was going to say with Abba and Preach now. I shouldn't have smoked before this. If it comes back. Oh, it did. They did a reaction video about modern women these days choosing to go for single motherhood, which, like, baby, no. That is not... See, one thing that I realize is there's a lot of women who view children as an accessory, an enhancement to their life, which motherhood is an amazing thing. It's a necessary component of life itself. But it's not like just a little hobby or a fly-by-night gig, you know? It's a responsibility, a major honor. You can't just be out here. So anyways, they were doing a reaction about that, and it just really had me like, wow, there's a lot of women out there who truly believe that we don't need men for anything at all. They're completely, and you see, now that I say it out loud, I know women who feel that way, and when I've had conversations with them, they're more I know what they talking about. They talking about something. But generally, it's like this idea that you just don't need men ever. They're obsolete. You only need them for their sperm, and that's it. So much so that you're willing to bring new life into this world without incorporating a masculine presence. And I just feel that's so selfish and irresponsible and naive. There's single mothers out here who are single in their parental duties by circumstance, not because they wanted to be single doing this by themselves. And just because you see them being successful a lot of the times doesn't mean opting for single motherhood is like a come up. Even if you have your finances straight, the masculine portion of the equation is half of that child's DNA. It's half of who they are. They will seek to know it. And if they don't have a masculine presence, if they don't have their father figure, their father in their life to say, like, this is who I am, and these are the things that exist within you, and I'm here to support you and your mama. Like, if they don't have that, they will feel a deficit. They will feel you're setting them up to constantly be yearning for that connection. You know how they say about certain women that they have daddy issues, or certain men have certain daddy issues as well, because there was an absent father and it created a yearning for that energy in your life, and so you seek it in unhealthy ways. You can't project what it's going to look like when your child comes into this world. And the woman in the video was saying, I would just, have a conversation and let them know that mommy chose to have you, and your dad, he's like this and that. And I'm like, first of all, kids are asking these kind of questions at like 2 and 3 years old. So you think you're going to sit and talk to a toddler about how you chose to bring them into this life without ensuring that they had their father in their life too? So now they're the only one at school without that interaction. Like, okay, I'm speaking from my own experience. My mom raised me as a single mother, and that type of shit sticks with you. I remember as a kid seeing my other friends with both of their families, or if we had an event and they had their mom and their dad there with them, and I just had my mom, and I'm like, at the time, I didn't even know who my dad was. I didn't meet him until I was 6. So that whole early childhood phase, I'm wondering about this whole half of myself that I don't know. Like, that creates attachment issues. That creates insecurity because you don't feel safe, because you don't have a full scope of who you are. Like, these are things that are important to consider. Like, anyway, let me come in the chat before I get tight in here. Because people be wildin'. Hold up. Missed these vibes last week. Oh, Robert, like, I gave you a birthday shout out in my shadow work video, so go check it. That's the brainwashing. We need each other. Yeah. And that's something that I saw coming up a lot in these critiques of the modern woman, is the brainwashing, because it is propaganda that's being sent in our direction on a mass media level to convince us that we don't need men in our lives. They're completely obsolete. All we need to do is really be more in our masculine energy, and then now we got ourselves, and that's it. It's like, that's not nature, baby. Like, why are you going against nature? Like, we don't need a Birkin bag, baby. You need masculine and feminine balance. Like, what? Also, there's a misconception that a father not being in the home means he's not involved at all. That's true. That's true. Because there are people out there who are co-parenting efficiently. Or even if it's not efficient, the father figure is present and there is a relationship with that child. So it doesn't necessarily have to be in the context of being married or being with the parent, but simply nurturing your connection with whoever you choose to bring life into this world with. And that's why it's so important to be intentional about these decisions. You can't just be out here shooting the club up left and right, or letting people shoot the club up. And then, like, it's like I said before, it's a high honor, it's a duty, it's a responsibility when you bring life into this world. So, but then people are out there willy-nilly shooting the club up. And also recognize that a lot of people are single mothers because someone else's son was occupying her womb space without her consent. Like, just shooting it up without consent. And then now she's pregnant and you confused about how that happened. Because you, semen retention, you weren't exercising that. You didn't pull out. You forgot. Like, but then want to put the whole blame on the woman in that scenario who would have to lean into her masculine energy to now be a single mother because this dude wasn't thinking with his head. He was thinking with his Johnson. Like, acknowledge that as well and be responsible and accountable for that as well. Do better. You got to do better out here. Okay, hold up. I grew up without a man. My father being a part of my life. Oh, without a man or father being a part of my life. And since I became old enough to understand, develop feelings for men, it has been hard. I have experienced so many bad experiences with men, made so many wrong choices with men. Yeah, I have been learning as I go, really. And that is a common experience for especially women, but just people in general who grew up without a father figure or have some kind of detachment or disconnection there, is you have difficulty forming relationships because the whole thing about relating is navigating the feminine and masculine interaction and exchange within yourself, within the other person, within your exchange. So if you don't have experience with the masculine, you don't know how to tap into that within yourself. Or if you don't have experience with the feminine, vice versa, same story. And you end up having experience, it's a trial and error for you with dating, building connections. It's a whole lot of figuring it out from heartache, hard lessons, it's a whole lot of that kind of thing that takes place, which this is why it's so important to heal ourselves and be intentional about that before we continue to dive into relationships with people. And I'm speaking to myself too, this is something I had to learn as well, healing yourself and being accountable when you're within yourself, which is a feminine characteristic, by the way, I realize has transformed the kind of relationships I call into my life, the kind of dynamics I have with people, how I feel in situations, because I'm tapped in, tuned in, turned on to my feminine energy. I'm in my intuition. And so if my intuition tells me that something is a good time, great, it's a good time. And if it's not aligned with me, I know how to honor that. And so I've been able to have more quality relationships as a result of that. This is where the superpower of your feminine would come in, Okay. Let me see. My father wasn't around. I grew to appreciate it, but I had plenty of positive male figures in my life. That's dope too. I had my uncles too. And honestly, I'm so grateful that I had that. I had my uncles, I had some cousins, and then even as a kid and in high school, I went to all girls high school, so. But in college, being around the masculine, I always ended up being the one girl in a group of guy friends. And I know that that's another thing that people have a stigma around because they're automatically assuming that you're fucking these niggas. And it's like, bro, just because you walk around in the world with your dick in your hand doesn't mean that everybody out here operates that way. Anyway. So yeah, I was always able to understand the masculine perspective. There was a time where I was disconnected from my feminine because I was so seeking of the masculine, because I didn't have my father in my experience in my early childhood years. He came into my life after I turned 6, and then even that relationship was strained due to other factors that I'm not comfortable sharing just yet. So it wasn't until like I was like 18 is when I started to really nurture a relationship with my father and really learn myself. And it wasn't until in my adulthood, 20s, mid-20s, that I really learned myself and the feminine and the masculine and the balance and all those things. Yeah, but I'm still grateful that I had access to masculine energy in my life at those times, because that's what helped me feel safe now, even as an adult, around men. Like, I can feel when the energy of a certain man that's around me is genuinely on some, he respects and honors the feminine, wants to protect and look out for, provide for, whatever, the feminine, he respects and honors. And so I can feel that versus when they don't. And so now I'm able to really be more discerning with that kind of information. So I feel safe when I'm around men. And I know that that's not a common experience for women, especially if you're heavily into your masculine. It's usually because you don't feel safe around the men that you're calling in or whatever. And I would invite you to look into that. It's okay to self-examine. It's also okay to work that out through therapy and all these kind of things. Healing is a superpower. Yes, we can either seek what we experienced in our childhood or what we hope for as a child. So the same brokenness we are used to if we haven't healed. Yeah, like attracts like. And the frequency that you are on is what you will gravitate towards in this world. People are mirror reflections of you. So we can't always look at it like it's the other person creating havoc in my life. This is where you have to turn the gaze inward and really assess, what is it about me that's calling these situations into my life? And that can be a hard pill to swallow. But it's worth the discovery. It's worth learning that. Because don't you want to change your experiences for the better? Or you want to exist in toxicity for the rest of your life? You know? Yeah. Okay. My father was in my life, but really wasn't in my life. And I think that's why it's hard for me to really trust the guys that do present themselves to me, and it's tough. Alicia, that is such a valid perspective. Like, that is such a common experience too. And it's a real one. And that's why the empathy, the compassion, the understanding, feminine qualities is so necessary. Because when you can really see what you've gone through to contribute to who you've become, you can first forgive yourself for those instances where you weren't trusting, or you had your guard up, or you weren't receptive to something, you weren't in your feminine energy. You can forgive yourself for that because you understand yourself. You see yourself, right? And that's healing. And then you can acknowledge the fact that, okay, I want to be able to trust. I don't like feeling like I don't trust the person that I'm around. Don't like that feeling. I want to be able to have trust in the people around me and the people that I choose. So that starts with trusting yourself as well. So now trusting your own decisions. Trust your own discerning nature. These are all feminine qualities to lean into, to be into your feminine energy. Learning how to trust. Open your heart space. That don't mean be naive, and that's something that I'm guilty of. I've been naive for sure in situations. This is where your masculine would come in, having boundaries. That's where the masculine would come in. You see, so it's not like being overpowering to the fact that it's like trumping on your femininity. Like, it comes up when it's needed. As a woman, you know when to summon your masculine when it's needed. So have boundaries, but also be trusting. Learn how to trust. And in order to learn that, trust yourself. Practice that. I like this conversation though. I like this topic. Yes, I'm very unemotional. We're here, Amber. Wait, how we got there? Did Amber say something? I totally get that. Wait, hold up. Yeah, I totally get that. I have close women friends, but I definitely fit in better with men mentally. I'm extremely unemotional regarding a lot of things. And Amber, that's what I see. They're saying like relatable content for a lot of people. But one thing that I want to say about emotions and femininity is your emotions guide you. They tell you what's up. They tell you what time it is. So, whereas in certain facets of society, like glorifying being heartless and not having a connection to your emotions is like romanticized. But as a woman, being connected to your emotions and knowing them and being able to discern and like make sense of the world around you through your emotions, that is a major strength. That is the part of the masculine that they don't have, so they need it from us. You know? So I would encourage you to tap into that. Learn it some more. Feel your emotions. You're meant to feel your emotions. And that's for men too. We would not have them if we were not meant to feel them. They literally tell us what's up. They give us information. You know? It's like when people say, oh, you don't need your tonsils, you don't need your appendix. But it's like, why would we have it? Just because we're living in a society where we're out of balance and parts of ourselves that we have, we're not tapping into in order to adapt to the society doesn't mean that these parts of ourselves are not needed. Like, I remember when I learned that the tonsils is what like allows in African dialects to pronounce that like click sound. That's their tonsils that they're using. But because we've been colonized and, you know, we out here now and we don't know our native tongue, we can't speak those languages, we're not using our tonsils. So they tell us we don't need it. They also told us we don't need our pineal gland. Hello? Anyone out there? You see what's up? Oh, or not? Do you see what they're doing or no? Learn that we are being programmed all the time. Our brains are computers. We've been through a massive amount of psychological attack on all levels for generations. Recognize that. Recognize that the narratives that are being fed to us, anything that's mainstream, is suspicious. It's sus. Because there's a reason why they're trying to juice it up into your experience. Marketing 101. They're trying to make you feel that you need this product so they can sell it to you, right? So they tap into your psyche. That's the attack. So you got to be able to recognize when you're being addressed in that way, discern, and don't internalize it. Yeah, I can listen to Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion and not operate that way in my life. Yes, I can bust a twerk while I'm in the kitchen cooking. Like, these things can coexist because I'm not internalizing these values. I know what I'm being marketed to and manipulated on a psychological level. So, yeah, the feminine. Focusing on the negatives, I'm learning, gives energy to that negative thought. So focusing on what you want is better than what you don't want. Well, yeah, absolutely. We talking about manifesting in here? Absolutely. That's interesting, Amber. I lead with my emotions with a side of logic. That side of logic being the masculine. We need logic out here. That's the grounding force. That's why feminine, masculine is needed. Both of them is needed. We need each other. The masculine keeps you grounded. Whether it's within yourself or you have masculine energy being presented to you. Anytime, like, I notice I get the best advice from masculine energy or men who I trust. They give me the best advice. They keep me grounded. They help me see another perspective. And it's like, yo, I really was not thinking about it like that. But now I've completely expanded because I've received what you've had. I'm picking up what you're putting down, okay? I've received the information and now I'm digesting it and I'm like, I can apply this. We need each other. Karina, I was supposed to... Wait, hold on. Y'all talking to each other, chat. Y'all in here talking to each other. I just learned something new. I gotta learn how to trust myself. My first real relationship taught me that. Also taught me that I brought the fear of meeting someone like my dad to like, ooh, relatable content, baby. When I tell you... But I love my dad, though. I would not want to date someone like him, though. And I ended up dating someone like him who reminded me of him. And it's because I was able to empathize with this person and his experiences because I saw my dad in him. And I remember as a kid seeing what was happening between my dad and my mom, the discord between them, and being raised with my mom, so I know her and her energy. And then the fact that I'm yearning for my dad because he hasn't been in my life. So I was just super empathetic to his point of view, his disposition, everything. I always felt for him. It wasn't until I was an adult that I learned the true circumstances around my conception and why my mom was so stressed all the time and all that kind of... I was like, Dad. And he'll admit it now that he was a fuckboy, you know? He'll admit that because he has daughters. He has nothing but daughters, so... And when you have a daughter like me, like you, you got to recognize that. But yeah, life. All right, I think I'm gonna, oh, hold on, wait. I'm just being nosy right now. I just want to see what else y'all have been in here saying. I didn't see much femininity from my mother, even though she was a stay-at-home mom and my parents are still together to this day. So I found myself looking for femininity from other women romantically. Ooh, that is... I'm glad that you shared that. That is a perspective that is often overlooked. That shouts to you for sharing that. Yeah. Like, wherever you have a deficit, you seek that energy. And it manifests differently for different people. So maybe you might seek it in a partner. Maybe you might seek it in relationships with other people, friendships with other people, your work environment, the kind of career you choose for yourself, all that kind of thing. Oh, gosh. Thank you for the compliments. Speaking facts, Sammy, those absentee parents issues definitely followed me into adulthood. Child, that's exactly why therapy was needed, because it was manifesting into my relationships. And I was like, yo, what is this about? See, I'm someone who I don't like to reside in toxic energy for long. I don't like to reside in confusion either. I don't like the victim feeling helpless. I don't like none of that. So because of certain life experiences, whenever I'd feel that way, I was like, no, I need someone to help me through this because I cannot stay in this place for long. But a lot of people are comfortable in victimhood. It gets them the attention or the consideration that they crave. So there's that. But if you are really, truly trying to become a better version of yourself and heal and evolve and be dope, residing in victimhood is not an option. Growth and progression, that's what you need to be looking at. Ooh. I got this as a gift for Teachers Appreciation Day. It's one of those like generic, all the teachers get this gift kind of things. But thanks anyway. Oh boy. Oh y'all, I accomplished this because now I'm looking at my hair. Sponge rollers. So I ended up getting the ones that I saw on Amazon that I was telling you about. I'll link it after I upload this video. the pillow ones, I ended up getting those, and here is the outcome, y'all. Look at this. Fire. And I'm 2 months, almost 2 months in to my node retwist. I actually need to moisturize, so I don't really want to get all up in the camera, child. Hey everyone, love you locks, thank you. Yeah, that's like, wait. Yeah, that's like taking an L, and I can't give nobody that type of power for too long. Facts, Amber. Facts, Amber. Did this die? Y'all, I need a new laptop. I need a new laptop. My shit is struggling. It's struggling. Ooh. But yeah, what else about feminine energy? I feel like I don't want to be in here too long. I can talk about femininity and that energy for so fucking... I can go in on that for a long time. But yeah, definitely look into it on your own as well. Femininity, graceful energy. Silence is a feminine quality. Because in silence you receive. You're in the receptive state. All right, y'all. Ooh, what you mean message retracted? Why is messages? You're looking like Medusa, who I actually learned was a... Wait, what? Why did it delete? Y'all deleting shit in the middle of me reading it. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right, so closing thoughts. Feminine and masculine energy exists within both men and women. Bullet point. Women, leaning into your femininity is a superpower. So I suggest you do it. You command thousands when you do that. You never got to do too much. Yeah, I never really understood it all until just now while listening to you. I'm glad that I was able to help make it make sense for y'all. Because there's just too many narratives going on around what it means to be a woman, and I feel like we should focus on what it means to be a balanced person. Gender roles, I mean, yeah, they can be useful for sure, but they can also be limiting. So strive for balance in yourself, in your relationships, all of that. Yeah, what else? Feminine energy. You know, like the perfect example of the feminine masculine balance? Anyone who grew up in a black church and the choir, like men and women singing together, beautiful, like it shifts your soul, right? You feel that vibration going like, whoa, I'm activated. Feminine, masculine, altos, sopranos, baritones, all of that working together in balance, it creates something beautiful when it's in harmony. Okay, Diamonds and Pearls by Prince. If I gave you diamonds and pearls. Listen, classical music, masculine and feminine intertwined. Okay. Yes, activated. Let me tell you, that shit is lit. The masculine and feminine together is lit. Okay, we need that. We need to see that more in life. We need to see it more in life, child. Definitely been learning the power in femininity and getting in connection with your womb space. Yes, ladies, your womb space will do it for you. Feminine energy, get into your womb space. Hey, Daydream Girl. Get into your womb space. And you know, that's also part of the importance of and the power in being balanced in your feminine and masculine is it allows space for you to have an easeful birthing experience if you're interested in having kids. When you're out of balance, it makes your labor more delayed, difficult, painful. There's other things that contribute to that as well, like your lifestyle, your dietary habits, all of that. But truly, when your hormones are out of balance, when your energy is out of balance, it throws off literally every part of your experience. So learn your womb space. Get into it. Get into it. All right, y'all. I'm pretty much running out of energy. I need to wind down and tune in feminine energy for the rest of the nights. So I thank you all for being here with me, for listening to me chats. I hope you guys took something valuable from this conversation, and I will see you next